you know, once you could go, you really don't want to go anywhere until you can actually stop. And we are struggling with what I believe to be stuck wheel cylinders. This drum was stuck. If you ever have a drum that's stuck on the hub, sometimes it'll help to spray some lubricant, and what it does, it gets between and it comes around here, and then you try and work it back and forth, and then it'll come off. This one's already cleaned and taken off. I got the bleeder opened up, and we're able to get brake fluid through the bleeder, which is good. With a, you know, with a push of the pedal, it'll squirt fluid. With the bleeder shut and pressing the pedal, this doesn't actuate. And in my experience, that means that this has been sitting too long. Now, this vehicle's been moved around, but when I got it, the brakes were really, really funky, and I think it maybe had been sitting for a couple of years. So the pads do not look very worn, but I mean, if you look at it, it looks old. Cobwebs, dirt. It's probably underwater. Pistons that move in, they have metal piston that moves in and out with a rubber gasket on the inside. The metal piston is usually made of some kind of aluminum. If there's any moisture or even old brake fluid between in that bore, and it sits till it dries out and they seize in there. So people will just rip these out and buy new ones, which is probably what I'll end up doing. But I have freed them up in the past, and usually just if you bang them out, clean the bore, and stick them back in, sometimes you can get, I mean, I already know the bleeder is broke loose, so I might be able to just save it. If you've got just money lying around and it's available, just you can put a new one in nice and quick. But this is sort of like the way we used to do it when we were broke and had nothing. And it's not the best way, because once it's pitted inside the bore, it's like it'll always leak fluid, and it's yucky. But he's already jumped up and down on this a bunch of times, and it's not moving. Brute force it, right? You get some punches and just try and drive them in or out, or, you know, knock them through and then clean it out, stick them back in. Sometimes that'll work, but you might make a mess. We're going to try finesse, right? We're going to use a little bit of penetrating oil. What we're going to do is we're going to take these shoes off. We're going to take the rubbers off. We're going to try and squirt some of this in there so that galvanic corrosion dissolves just a little bit, softens up, and maybe it will break free. That's tonight's challenge. If this side is bad, probably the other side is bad, and I think one of the front brakes is stopping it right now, so probably one of the front calipers is needing love too. Well, that escalated quickly. Just from looking in there, I knew it was pretty dire. But I mean, these came out, the bleeder came out, the line came out without twisting. It's just somehow it was moisture. I think this Bronco II sat in a pond. I get that feeling. Before I took this apart, I beat on it with the punch, and it didn't budge. I think that if we have any chance, it's going to be leveraged. So we got it out of the vehicle, and we're going to be able to use the vise to squeeze. Because see, this can still go in further. So if we squeeze it, and it moves that a little bit, then we can clean up what we can see and push this sort of, you know, it's just a metal piston, but it's corroded in place. So I'm going to stick it in here and squeeze. Maybe you'll get to see it free up, and maybe I'll just throw it away. I mean, no matter what, I was going to have to take it off, either to fix it or to replace it, which these, I'll bet I can order these, and they shouldn't be too expensive, so I'm not going to spend too much time playing with it, but maybe we'll get lucky. I got two 14mm sockets. They sort of fit in the bores. Close enough. Let's see, one of them or the other of them probably ought to move. See, this one's moving. This one's moving now. Okay. So, we got that one free. Let's see if we can get the other one to go. I am here. I gotta go get the radio. Puffed out Campo, checking in. See if we can get it to go. There, it went. There it is. I don't know if you could see. You know, when you push it in and it stays in, that's bad news, because there's a spring in there. So it's stuck. I used a little bit of emery cloth. We'll get it out of there. We'll clean everything, put it back together, and it will sort of work, but it'll be a lot more leaky and prone to seizing. Maybe we'll put some of these on order. That's what that looks like. That's what happens. A common thing to go bad. Brakes always break. I brought you in just for the final good. There it comes. It's coming out. There you go. There's your O-ring and spring assembly jobby. And the other side. Pushed it all the way through. And, yep. There's the cups. If we clean this all up, it'll probably suck. There you go. That's how you get it apart. I don't know. We'll run a round brush through there a bunch of times and see if we can get it cleaned up. Abrasives and cleaner, it moves freely. You'll know you're doing good when the spring is enough to push it back up and it moves freely in and out. It's a little bit slow. But anyways, the springs in the brake drums and everything should be enough to make all that move the way it should. Okay, second verse, same as the first. We already have the other side put back together. This side, we're having the same bad luck. This drum is seized. See, it doesn't really stick to this face. It sticks right here. This hub indexes the drum so that it stays round. The problem is it's a tight steel-on-steel, uncoated sort of surface, and with years it seizes. So I pounded on it, pried on it, tapped on it. You know, use a ice pick and scrape at the ice. I used Croil, and you put it around there, and then you tap, and then you put it around there, and then you tap, and you put it around there and tap. You pour some in the opening for the studs a little bit. Maybe it gets in the back there, and you tap, and you pry out, and you tap in, you know. But it's seized. It's just around there, you know, and that's a really difficult place to get at. So we're going to use fire. Now the thing is not to, we aren't trying to melt anything. What we're trying to do is get the metal hot enough that it expands, it breaks the rust, it breaks the bond there, and then when we cool it off, it contracts, and then maybe it will break free. That's the goal. So you get to watch. Everybody loves some fire. Make sure you have your flammables out of the way. I've even got my fire extinguisher because I'm being extra safe because I'm by myself tonight. So I use extra safety when I'm alone because there's no one here to save me. I've got my acetylene and air powered torch. Makes a pretty good flame. I feel like that got a lot of heat in it. Let's see if that makes any difference. Look at that. It's off. Just that simple, folks. And I mean, I beat on it and messed with it for ages. Little heat goes a long way. There you go. Oh, that's great. I feel good about that. I'm going to get it cold as fast as I can. I don't want to cook the bearings out of there. Oh, it's not even that hot. Drum's kind of hot. All right. Hey, something went my way. Now we got to take this all apart. I mean, that was good. Now make sure before you put it back together, you clean those two surfaces real good. So, and maybe even, you could even throw some anti-seize. Obviously, you don't want to get anti-seize on your pads or on the friction surface of your brakes, but a little bit of anti-seize around right where it goes together will keep it from binding for a couple of years, depending on, you know, conditions. So, on to it. It's success. Something went my way. I love it. We're about done with the rear brake. There's good news, and there's bad news. The good news is the brake lines are safe. we were able to, we had to cut this end off and put it back on but we got a good flare, and they're bled out, so we have pressure and fluid to the rear brakes. The thingies that, the hydraulic piston thingies, they're bad, they need replaced, but they're working, but they're bad. You understand what I'm saying. Like, I would not say, oh yeah, they're good. No, they're bad, but they function now.
Okay, I made a sandwich with some pepperoni and some onion. I'm gonna eat it, just one sandwich, and then I'll call you.
Pepperoni and onions. Sounds good. Sounds great. Working, but bad. Okay? The rear drums, that one over there is not actually too bad, except for the pits in it. But this one is definitely bad. It has pits and scoring. These shoes are about worn out, and they have grooves from being used on the scoring. And the springs are very rusty and need replaced. I was able to get the little star thing to move so we could adjust, but I had to remove, so there's supposed to be a metal bar that goes from this side to this side that allows the emergency brake lever to actuate the emergency brake or parking brake style mechanism. But those cables, well, they're full of pond junk, and they need replaced. So those are bad as well. Someone cut the anti-sway bar with a torch, I guess for off-road use. So that's bad. It's bad. You could see, I think this thing got drunk and spent the night in the pond. You know, anyways, that's what happens when you play with the Jeep, people. Nothing is good. None of this is good. So we're going to do the right thing now that it is functioning, and stop looking at it, right? There's nothing we can do without spending money, and we're sure as heck not going to spend our money on this a lot. We're going to, what we're going to do, right, is bright colors are often used as a warning. So we're just going to paint it orange so that people know to be afraid, right? It has been inspected and has failed, right? Very good. Nice bright orange, no prep paint job, so that, yeah. So you can see somebody's been in there and certified different, certified bad, certified do not trust, but also leaps and bounds better than the previous failure, and different, right? It's not better, but it's different. Boy, I feel like I said that, and then the Diggs people have emulated it, so I am honored. They even made a sticker. I will have to get some stickers, because this is definitely becoming different. We will have stoppage, but we also have candy. So these tires, although they have lots of deep tread, and you might be misled to believe that they are safe because they have so much of the tread, but they also have so much of the cracking, severe dry rotted cracking, and the sidewall is not so good. We found another set of bad tires that are marginally larger, pretty big. They are on the same bolt pattern, but they are 16-inch wheels, and used 16-inch tires with aggressive tread truck will be easier to source than 15-inch tires. 15-inch tires are not so plentiful on new and modern trucks, so we're going to go with this bigger tire, and these are not any good, and they don't have any tread, but they hold air and are on a better wheel size. So there is our logic. Would you do this? Would you switch out to other junk tires? Of course you would. We got to get this to roll. I have to get it to go outside and not go flat. These tires that are on there, they go flat. I have messed with them, and I'm sick of messing with them. We got to get something that stays, and look how much bigger. Like 4 inches bigger or something like that. They're like 285, 75, 16s. And they are mud dogs. Unfortunately, the white letters are inside. They are mud dogs. You can see by the way that it is that somebody's had some big tires in here and made some clearance. So even clearanced out right here. I think maybe we can make this fit. If not, we might just size these down. But let's see if they go on the back. Set you down. You get a look. They're gonna go up in there. Ooh, they're heavy. And this is a little busted. Maybe we need to get rid of this center hub. It's a little bit ratty. Rattier than the rest of things around here. Okay, maybe we'll even put some, look at this, we're gonna put some looby-doob on there. That'll be good stuff. Yeah. Now I'll find out it's the wrong stupid bolt pattern. It's supposed to be 5 on 4.5. Let's hope it really is. Yeah, they're heavy. Come on. Rotation. There we go. Ah. Hey, look at that. Huh? Okay. We have voltage. Well, see, you know, the jack is under there. Maybe when we let the jack down, I mean, if we have to cut some meat out of there and out of there and out of there, that's nobody's loss there. Oh yeah, we'll make this fit. Oh, we make this look good. All right. Should I do a montage of me sticking lug nuts on? I think not.